Hello viewers, I'm Simon Preston and I'm going to have a look at England's 26-man provisional squad that they've called up in preparation for the 2016 European Championship. So just to give a little bit of insight, the European Championships will begin on June the 10th. England's group will include Russia, Wales and Slovakia. Now for this tournament, the tournament has expanded from 16 teams to 24 teams. So what that means is that in a majority of the groups you'll find that the top 3 will advance to the round of 16, as they'll have a round of 16 bracket for this tournament as in addition to before the quarterfinal stage. So it's a wider opportunity for teams to stamp their authority. There's a few debutants in this tournament. For an example, you have Wales, who I mentioned before. Iceland as well is also making their debut in this tournament, and Albania as well. And a team we haven't seen for a very long time, Hungary, is in this tournament as well. So it should be a very, very exciting tournament. So just to go into England's squad, I'm going to name out the 26 players and give my thoughts on it, Roy's feelings behind it, and which 3 I think would be left out of it. So in goal, the goalkeepers, to begin with that first, I think arguably it was the easiest bit of decisions for Roy Hodgson to make. He has his number 1, Joe Hart, Manchester City goalkeeper, as well as Fraser Forster of Southampton, and his 3rd string keeper is former Manchester United 3rd string keeper Tom Heaton. Tom Heaton plays his trade with Burnley, who has just been promoted to the Premier League. He recorded 20 clean sheets this season for Burnley. He's a good shot stopper, but you could say he's a tier below the likes of Fraser Forster and Joe Hart. I think if everybody was fit, if all the pool of goalkeepers, I don't think Tom Heaton would make it. I believe that Jack Butland, as we know, would jump into this pool. And since watching Jack Butland when he was a teenager at Birmingham City, I've been impressed with him. And this was before the 2012 European Championship, where he was a late replacement for John Ruddy. I'm talking from the Summer Olympic Games as well, where he truly stamped his authority. Even though Great Britain didn't advance to the semi-finals, I was very impressed by Jack Butland's performances in this tournament and also in the Championship with Burnley. I believe he's England's future number 1, and if David De Gea leaves Manchester United, that is the keeper who would want. That's how highly I think of Jack Butland. I think he's going to be a fantastic goalkeeper. 6 feet 5 inches tall, and he concedes a goal every 2 games. And for a goalkeeper, you want to keep a clean sheet at least every other game. So from that standpoint, I'm very happy for him. He's 23 years old and he has lots and lots of improvement to do, and I think he's going to flourish into an elite goalkeeper. So I'm looking forward to his progress. I do wish him a speedy recovery over the summer, and that next season he'll be back bouncing and ready. He's currently at Stoke. However, if David De Gea leaves Manchester United and goes to whether it's Real Madrid or Atletico back home, that is a goalkeeper that I would like as a Manchester United fan. Other goalkeepers that could have been in the mix, Ben Foster, but Ben Foster did say that he was taking some time out from international football, you could say semi-retirement from international football, to spend some more time with his family. He always said that during his time at Manchester United and being called up to the England team and stuff like that, he wanted some time for his family and he wanted to just relax a bit, and that's understandable. So he could have been in the mix, you could say. So that's one player as well. Any other goalkeepers? There's a goalkeeper who may not have been in Roy Hodgson's thinking for the Euros, but he has called him up before, and that goalkeeper is Alex McCarthy. Alex McCarthy plays with Crystal Palace as well in the Premier League. The first time that I caught sight of Alex McCarthy was in the England under-21s a number of years ago. He was a backup to Frank Fielding, and when I saw him broke out at Reading in the Premier League in the 2012-2013 season, I was not necessarily shocked, but amazed by his reflexes. Sometimes keepers over 6 feet 3 inches tall, you don't see that sort of quick agility, but the way that he played in Reading's 0-0 draw against Liverpool, where he recorded 12 saves, keeping the likes of Luis Suarez and Steven Gerrard at bay. That match showed to me his capabilities, and it's just unfortunate he hasn't been getting a lot of playing time. You know, Speroni has been between the sticks for Crystal Palace for quite some time, and they have trust in him, but I do hope Alex McCarthy can get into a team where he can play regularly, and it will show Roy Hodgson the ability he has, because I think Alex McCarthy, Jack Butland and Fraser Forster could be the future. You know, Joe Hart has had some shaky performances. There's been times where you have to wonder, why didn't he come down to his near post? His positioning has been very, very tricky. However, I think these three can do a sturdy job. Joe Hart is definitely number one for England between the sticks, and that is who I'll think will start in England's opening game in Marseille against Russia. Now, going into the defenders, there are Gary Cahill, who is the vice-captain of the England team, also plays for Chelsea. Chris Smalling, who has won the most aerial duels among English players this season in the Premier League, Manchester United player. Kyle Walker, a right back. Nathaniel Klein, another right back. Danny Rose, another full back, the side on the left hand side, and Ryan Bertrand. And to round out the defenders list is Everton player John Stones. John Stones, you remember, started out his career at Barnsley in Yorkshire, and then he made a move to Everton a few years ago. Ball playing centre half, he's made over 1,100 passes this season, so you can see the confidence he does have on the ball and wanted to play it forward, whether to bypass the midfield or straight to the attacking midfielder in the number 10 position. He likes to give it to Ross Barkley or a little further forward as well in the wide areas. And I think under the guidance of Roy Hodgson, despite the mediocre season you could say John Stones had, I think under Roy Hodgson, who is a defensive-minded person, who is defence first, I think he could actually develop into a good player and flourish from this. And who knows the clubs that could be calling him in the summer, or next year, for that matter. Come to think of it, the squad that Roy Hodgson has called up, I must say, my brief analysis on it is that it's unlike him. In the past, he would always be defence first, attack second. And we're seeing a squad with a lot of injection of youthful exuberance, quality, and for the first time in quite some time, England has wonderful goal scorers to look forward to. Since you could say Euro 96, England hasn't had these caliber of strikers. I'll get into that very soon, but let's wrap up the defensive part. And interesting to note for Rose, I just want to provide some statistics on this because the English media has been talking a lot about this, about Danny Rose being in a squad and West Ham United player Aaron Cresswell not being in the squad. Have a listen to these statistics. As it relates to tackles, Rose has won that battle. 67 tackles this season for Rose, 38 for Aaron Cresswell. Listen to this now. Interceptions. Aaron Cresswell has 70 interceptions this season in the Premier League, while Danny Rose has 39. Almost cut in half, you could say. Twice more for Aaron Cresswell, the man from Merseyside. Clearances, Cresswell 88, Danny Rose 79. Crosses, 121 crosses for Aaron Cresswell and 88 for Danny Rose. And still, Aaron Cresswell does not have an England cap to his name or even called up. I think that is one player that has been hard done by and should have at least been in this pool of players, because I do think that he has that sort of ability that can play for England. Even though I feel Luke Shaw will be the future of England's left-hand side, I think as a good backup, Cresswell should have at least been in the mix. But if he continues his performances, his opportunity will come. I feel that hard work never goes unnoticed and nothing happens before its time. So what Cresswell has to do, take a reflect during the off-season, come back fresh, Europa League first for West Ham United in their brand new stadium, get the ball rolling with that, and I think he will do well. Did you know that when the England squad was named on Monday, that social media literally blew up about fans saying, why was Wes Morgan not in the squad? Is Roy Hodgson mad? And everybody was talking about that, but if they did their research, they would find out that he's a Jamaican international and has been since September 2013. If they wanted him so bad, why didn't they get him half a decade ago? Or even 5 years ago, for that matter. Why not? Because he's in the Championship? When he was at Nottingham Forest at the time? Sure. But to be fair though, he has had a splendid season with Leicester City. To me, arguably, the best centre-half in the league this season. This season. I'm proud of him, and to be the first Jamaican international to win the Premier League since 1948, where Lindy de la Pena won it, with Portsmouth. Outstanding, outstanding achievement. Are there any defenders who could have been in this mix as well? Leighton Baines, he's had an injury-prone sort of season, and since after the World Cup, he has had better performances for Everton than he has had with England, and there's always been a plague over his head about being homesick, and he doesn't like to play games outside of his country and his county. And to me, I just think if you want to be the best, you have to get over little things like that. You want to be the best in the world, you want to excel, you have to go places. You will go places once you excel, that's another thing too. To me, the biggest surprise of all, no Phil Jagielka. What I've seen this season at Everton is that Phil Jagielka has been sort of a father figure to John Stones in the heart of defence, where he has told John Stones, okay, be careful when you make this sort of pass, that, and you could see him always being vocal with him, and I enjoy watching that father figure sort of approach from the former Sheffield United player. So, in my eyes, I think that he's another person that is hard done by and could have been the squad. Who could he have replaced? Nobody. I just think he would go straight in the squad because we only have 3 centre-halves. Chris Smalling, Gary Cahill, John Stones, and maybe, I'll get to the midfielders in a minute, Eric Dyer. Other players that could have been in the squad, Scott Dan, another centre-half at Crystal Palace, the man from Merseyside as well, has had a prolific season as well. He was a top pick in the Fantasy Premier League for fantasy football fans, and picking him in the team online and stuff like that. He got a number of clean sheets as well, and he kept Jamaican international Adrian Mariappa, the guy who wears that jersey, out of the team as well. Kieran Gibbs, well, he's had his injury problems as well, so it's hard to say how he would get in the team, but he's another person that could have been part of the mix, you could say. Midfielders, now this is where things get very, very interesting. Jack Wilshere, man who played 3 games this season. James Milner, or as Liverpool fans like to call him, James Neymar. Definitely not so Neymar. Jordan Henderson, the captain of Liverpool, after being out for quite some time. Ross Barkley, a mercurial talent. But you could say that his growth has started stagnated a bit. He's put on 10 pounds, and as a result of that he's slowed up just a little, but I just think if he works on the decision making sometimes, that is exactly what he can do, and I think he can be a wonderful number 10 sort of player, where it's either giving it to the ball to the strikers or out wide to the wingers to whip it in. He has that sort of ability to even shoot from long range as well. Adam Lallana, he has a good first touch, but after that, what happens? This season, every time he creates 5 chances, then Liverpool scores 1 goal. 5 chances. He has to create 5 chances for Liverpool to score 1 goal. Although many may think, well, it's the finishers to score the goal, but if you're not providing the ball in a penetrative area, then how will you find the back of the net? If you give it a wayward pass, or you lose possession of it, it doesn't make any sense, does it? He has to be more prolific than that. Excellent first touch, but what else? Raheem Sterling. We know his ability. He was the Golden Boy winner in 2014, and as we know this year, 2015, was Anthony Martial of Manchester United. Still possesses that ability to beat a man and go forward. not the best of seasons he's had with Manchester City this season, his first season with the club. I would give him a 6 out of 10 performance, or even a 5.5 performance this season for Manchester City. He didn't lift the league as you would expect, even though having a goal per game ratio of 1 goal every 5 games for them this season. But I do feel that if he's given playing time, he will get back into form well. England has 3 practice games, remember that. They're going to play Turkey, they're going to play Australia, and they're going to play Portugal before heading off to France. Hey, that Portugal game should be very interesting. You know, Rooney and Ronaldo reuniting again. Memories. Andros Townsend, Newcastle. He's helped Newcastle as well since moving there, since not getting playing time at Tottenham. He's averaged 4 chances created per game. So he had a bit of bite to this England team as well. If you think about it, it's 0-0, you have 15 minutes to go, who are you going to call on? Andros Townsend can beat a man and whip it in and score in the bottom left-hand corner. Dele Alli, a player that has also made an impact in this league as well. 10 goals, 9 assists this season, and helping Tottenham to their best finish since the 2011-2012 season. Eric Dyer, his other partner in crime, can operate as the holding midfielder or even a centre-half. He made his debut against Spain last year in a 2-0 loss. Danny Drinkwater, Manchester-born player, former Manchester United player as well, and he's also part of the squad. Very energetic player, has covered the most ground in the Premier League for an English player. Only N'Golo Kante has covered more ground than he has this season, so very interesting. His stamina is up there, and he's a very vocal player as well on the ball, and his vision as well is quite good, and he's not afraid to make a forward pass. Anybody that has missed host of significance, you would have to say it would be Michael Carrick. This England team, the only thing I have a problem with is that it lacks a winning pedigree. Other than Joe Hart, James Milner, Wayne Rooney, Chris Smalling, there's Gary Cahill. There's not a real large amount of players that have a history of winning. Joe Hart has never won the Premier League back-to-back. Wayne Rooney has. Actually, he's won it 3 years on the run. If you look at it that way, so that's the thing that I lacked. If you look at England teams of the past, the Lampards, the Gerrards, the Beckhams, etc., that golden generation, it might not have produced much, but that winning mentality and that winning pedigree made a difference in the teams, and especially in confidence and things like that. So it's an interesting bunch of players for this lot. Not a lot of experience in terms of winning things, but you have to give them experience before you win stuff, you could say it that way. That's the only thing. Other than that, I think it's an England squad that can do some damage at the Euros. The strikers, this is where there's some interesting information. But before I get to the strikers, Michael Carrick should have been in this mix. He's going to tell himself, you know, well, James Milner may have played more games for England than I have, but look at all those medals that Michael Carrick has won. Premier League titles, Champions League winners medal, Football League Cup, the League Cup, he's won that a few occasions as well, the FIFA Club World Cup as well. He's won everything domestically except the FA Cup, and who knows, against Crystal Palace, they can break that. You never know. You never know. Could happen. The strikers now: Wayne Rooney, Daniel Sturridge, Harry Kane, Jamie Vardy, and Marcus Rashford. It's an interesting one for Marcus Rashford because in April, Roy Hodgson says he's unlikely to pick him. So maybe he's not going to be part of the 26, maybe he's just part of this little provisional squad. You know, Marcus Rashford's position in the team, that could have easily been a James Wilson if he was given this opportunity, because of the injuries we've had last season and this season. Louis van Gaal has been forced to throw in the youngsters, and if you ask Marcus Rashford right now if he expected to be in the England mix or even play in the first team for Manchester United, he would tell you no. completely unexpected. Does he deserve his place in the 26 though? Yes. Would I like to see him in the Euros? Yes, I would. Even though he's low in the pecking order, the other 23 teams know very little about him. Other than the statistics of 7 goals in 16 matches, there's very little information that they know about him. Yes, I'm sure they'll do their video analysis, but there's not much that they'll know about him as a player. So I think he can be that unknown quantity and X factor, and I would certainly take him to France for the Euros. Are there any players that could have missed out for the strikers? Some may say Andy Carroll. Why? Because we're going to play Russia and Slovakia. Physically imposing teams who like to play direct, whipping crosses, and we could have also done the same, you could say, with an Andy Carroll, but England has tried that experiment already, and there's also doubts if he will be able to be fit as well. So we'll have to see how that goes as well. Do I feel anyway that Andy Carroll is not in the mix? No, I'm fine. People might say, well, we need a tall player. Harry Kane is 6'2". Daniel Sturridge is 6'2" as well. And being 6'2" and over is considered tall. They will be able to find for aerial duels. Eric Dyer is 6 feet 2 inches as well, so he'll be okay as well. Ross Barkley is just a shade under 6'3" as well, so for crosses and direct situations like that, he can reach them. Wayne Rooney, despite being only 5 feet 10 inches tall, he does drum very high, so there's no issue where that is concerned, you could say. Danny Ings, Charlie Austin, Troy Deeney, Michail Antonio, all other players that could have been part of the mix as well. But Roy Hodgson went with the best players on form and added a very youthful mix as well. So here are some other statistics to know for this tournament as well. Wayne Rooney is on 109 caps for England. He's 4th in the all-times caps list. The leader is Peter Shilton, who has 125 caps. Behind him you have David Beckham with 115 and Steven Gerrard with 114. So Rooney could very well be number 2 by the end of the Euros. Top player in my view. An England legend already, you could say. And some information on England's history at the European Championships. In 2012, as it relates to the statistical table of wins, losses, draws, goal difference, goal for, goal against, we came fifth. So we got knocked out in the quarterfinals to Italy. We lost on penalties. In 2004, we also lost on penalties to Portugal. 1996, we lost in the semis to Germany on penalties, and in 2000 we got knocked out of the group stages. So in 3 of the last 4 European Championships, England has been eliminated by penalty shootouts. And in 1968, when we first participated in the tournament, when Bobby Charlton was around during that time playing, we came 3rd in that tournament, and that is our best ever finished in this tournament, alongside a performance in Euro 96. Who are the 3 players that I think that will be dropped from this team? Well, I can tell you who I want to drop from this team. I would drop Jordan Henderson, Fabian Delph, and Adam Lallana. Those are the 3 that I would drop. Why? Jordan Henderson is a player that when he's out for quite some time, his fitness level also decreases as well. And I find that we're not going to get that 100% Jordan Henderson in June. We're probably going to get a 50 to 70% Jordan Henderson, and I don't want that whatsoever. Fabian Delph, he's played less than a dozen games for Manchester City this season. Rustiness coming to play. He shouldn't be in the 23-man squad, and I don't think I would carry him as well. Adam Lallana, as I mentioned before, it's as if you have to create 10 chances for England to score 2 goals, and as well, sometimes you put him on the left and he's not effective. You put him on the right for Liverpool, there are some opportunities where he does spark into life. There's just that doubt about him, and I would rather take a risk on Jack Wilshere than I do on Adam Lallana, because Jack Wilshere has that sort of personality on the pitch where he will play that final ball, he'll drop back for you, and he wears his heart on his sleeve, and the passion of being English is within him. Some players in the team you don't see that sort of patriotism representing England. And if you want to do well, you have to love what you're doing, first and foremost. Unfortunately, I think that Roy Hodgson is going to drop Marcus Rashford. Even though I don't want him to, I think he's going to drop Marcus Rashford. I think he's going to drop Jordan Henderson and Fabian Delph. So that is what I think about the England squad. As far as our prediction, how far I'll reach in the tournament, England should not be eliminated from the group stages first and foremost, but we should not, our minimum we should reach is the quarterfinals of the tournament. That's where our minimum should be. If we reach the semi-finals, I'll be very psyched about that and I'll be happy. If we reach the semi-finals, that will make me happy. Very, very happy. Quarterfinals, fine. Par tournament. So, I hope you all have enjoyed this video on my England squad, on the England squad to carry to the Euros. Let me know in your comments below what you think about it and other suggestions you may have. I'd like to work on some other videos as well, historically, about other tournaments as well. I want to do something on the history of the European Championships as well, and work on some other statistical content as well. But you let me know your other suggestions below in the comments below, and give me your thoughts about the England squad that I think will be part of it. So, the 23, that's the 23 that I have, and the 3 that I would drop is Jordan Henderson, Fabian Delph and Adam Lallana. Those are the 3 that I would drop. I'm Simon Preston, and don't forget to subscribe.